Okay, can I invite Ching to start first? The microphone is here.
Oh.
2 minutes, sell yourself.
Hi, my name is Chean. I'm 30 this year. I've just resigned from my full-time job to fully commit to this election. But anyway, I have a side business which I'm doing, selling electrical appliances and also renovation. I've joined into politics is because in 2018, I know Gerakan is having a tough time and I want to make a change in Gerakan. I want to make a change in Malaysia policy. Not just that, I also want more youth to participate in the politics because politics is everyday life, and I want everyone to participate in politics and make sure they care about politics because it affects their life. I think that's all from here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gobind?
He switched it off, so
I'll give you 3 seconds more.
Okay. Thank you very much for this invite. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. My name is Gobind Singh, and of course I am the candidate for Parliament Damansara, B106. Before this, I was the MP for Chung for 3 terms. I'm also the chairman of DAP Selangor. I am the national deputy chairman of DAP in Malaysia. Held certain positions in government before, Minister of Communications, a lawyer by profession, back into practice now. And of course, you know, in my practice, take on a lot of controversial cases, things that need to be dealt with, and of course, I think the challenges that we face in voicing problems outside sometimes accumulate into court cases, and of course, the challenge is taken up there. Insofar as I'm concerned, I think the most important thing about Parliament is the need for us to be a voice for the people. This is crucial because at the end of the day, when it comes to transparency, particularly looking at what it is our government is doing and how it is they're going to do it, and making sure that at all times whatever is done is transparent and of course there's accountability, then that particular voice in Parliament becomes essential. So work in Parliament, of course, in terms of us looking at what the government is doing, that's one side of it. The other relates to policy. There are many aspects that we need to think about. And we need to formulate what we think the policy direction should be, because governance is not just about today and tomorrow. Governance is about what we are going to see in our constituencies and in our states, in our country, in the next 10, 15 years. So these are things that I think we need to look at. A lot more to say, but I heard that. In addition to that, of course, there's a lot of work to do on the ground, meeting constituents, understanding what their concerns are, voicing those concerns, and trying my level best to get problems resolved on the ground as well. Extra 3 seconds up.
Yes, thank you so much.
I also just wanted to say that I informed that I had to leave early because I had to push aside a few other functions to come here.
Okay.
So I got another place to be at 1:40. You got to leave by 1:10.
Yeah, this is not the first time that we organize something like that. 2008 and all the 3 elections, we've always been organizing Get to Meet. And after that, we want to work together to make PJ a different place. Alright? But nowadays, things are so complicated, so multi-dimensional. You've got climate change, you've got the virus coming in and all. Things are really quite havoc, not only for PJ, but for everywhere else. So in PJ, we are very mature, developed township in the city. We want to achieve sustainable development goals, to be a livable city. But we believe we need a different approach. So that's why I thought it was very important for us to very quickly let the candidates know that should you be elected, this is what we are hoping that you will be for us. So I'm sorry you have to turn around to see. Yeah, here we are talking about Petaling Jaya that is so well balanced, inclusive city for everyone, sustainable city. But in reality, we've been fighting for a long time. There are certain parts of Petaling Jaya, like Desa Bia and all, PJS area, where the B40 is tremendous. And right now we've got even more people from B40. Now we've got M40 that is now become a B40 as well. And we've been working on things like KDEX and all, problem, then come back to PJD link. And we have been fighting for local council election for a long time. Because we want to be part of this solution. We do not want to be just observers. And even for budget, since 2018, we've been observing the budget of PJ very, very carefully. And at one time, they have a reserve of nearly $500 million. All right? But it's so hard to keep track of that when it's just the citizens working alone. All right? But right now, we want to say that things are really triple grinder. COVID coming in, recession coming in, climate change, and all these things you need preparation for, and especially when it comes to IR4, where the jobs are just not going to be available. Now, if part of PJ suffer, everyone of us suffer. If the poor area suffer, then the crime will spill over as well. So we need a very holistic approach. So these are some of the things that we are having: segregation of B40, M40 area, lack of transportation, developers crowding around prestigious area, TOD catering just for the high-end condominium and all. So quite a lot of things like JMB and COB, all are systemic problems. So we do not want to be talking about, can you help me solve KDEX problem? Can you help me solve my condominium problem? No, the whole thing is structural. We want to go for a structural approach. And it's not about working harder or faster. All of us for the past 3 elections, everyone coming, they've been working hard on their own. But it doesn't work at all. You look at that, no matter how hard you spin, it doesn't jive. You need to integrate our efforts and generate a positive society through our synergy. And our emphasis in PJ is, are we able to work together? All the politicians, the aduns, the MPs, the councillors and all. So what we are really saying is, this time, seriously, PJ is going for a whole of society approach. Everyone has to play their part. The MP, the adun, the councillors, and the people. Don't forget the people. We know that there is things to achieve. Sustainable city, we need decent work, we don't want poverty. All these are encapsulating a multi-level partnership approach and simultaneous top and bottom-up approach. So we work with the state EXCO through the PBT, MP, adun, councillors, but usually there is a break somewhere along the line. Either the councillor is not cooperating or adun is not cooperating, and you cannot solve a problem without everybody cooperating. So I think the MP have a very big important role to play, because MPs normally have about 3 aduns under them. So we need to be caring, and we will do our part. Not to the MPs, we are telling you, we will be a community prihatin. Now we want a kerajaan prihatin that will actually work with us. So if you look at the World Urban Forum, they say that you need to strengthen local governments. There must be continuous dialogue, there must be participation, inclusive partnership. All these are already there in paper, but never in implementation. And PJ, we hope that new MP coming in will be part of this solution. So what we need now is we need the MP, the adun, and the councillor to work together. And right now we are having a lot of problems. The councillors belong to 3 different parties, and now they are not as cooperative as before. In 2008, they sit and discuss, but right now they are not working together. As a result, MyPJ is having a field day. They can do whatever they like, and the adun is not doing the job of an adun, because an adun is supposed to restructure the system so that we don't go to the adun to make our complaints, we don't go to the council to make complaints, we go to MyPJ to make the complaints. And that is what we want to achieve this term, that we get the system right, and who is cooperating with us and who is not cooperating with us, we have got to monitor. And of course the MP, strictly speaking, they are supposed to look after the federal government, pass laws for the federal government. But I'm so sorry, as long as the system at the bottom is not going right, you've got to help us. Okay, you've got to set whatever you need to set up on top, on the federal side, then work on with your partners in the same party or other parties, work with your adin, and then integrate the things into PJ. So this is the whole of society approach that we are wanting to do. I have no time to explain further.
Consult to understand what the problems are, how we can deal with it, and that's something that I've done from the start. So it's always the case that problems will be there. Those that can be resolved will be resolved, and those that require our attention, then of course we make time and make sure that we are able to find solutions to those problems. PJ leading, of course, KEDAX earlier was an issue. I think for all of you here, if you look back, when KEDAX was an issue, I was one of the main persons at the front of it, what you call opposing it. And in terms of PJ leading as well, I've said we've actually issued a statement on this. If PJ leading is something that reflects or is similar to KEDAX, then of course our position is that we do not agree to it. The objectives, I've been very clear about this to them. In fact, it's in writing, so that is my position. But we have to understand that when you look at development, you're not looking at the impact it's going to have on you in a year or two, or during the time of development alone. You're looking at how it's going to impact on the community and those surrounding areas in the next 5 to 10 years, even 15 years. So I think policy is important. I think when you talk about development, you've got to understand that sustainable development is something that matters, something that means a lot, particularly to communities that are very, very alert to the fact that there are changes these days that can cause a lot of problems climate-wise. In Puchong, we face severe floods. I think in December last year, if you remember, floods and some places water up to 10 feet. People suffer. People have to actually shift. They are relocated to day ones, schools. Then subsequently, when they come back, there's a lot of damage. You've got to think about how it is they're going to recover and build themselves back up. So it's something that we need to take seriously, and we need to find solutions to these problems. So I think in moving ahead, number one, if you look at a place like Damansara it's large, and of course the numbers of it's populated, it's heavily populated as well. So different areas are going to have different challenges, different areas are going to have different problems. What is important is to make sure that we engage. So if there's an area with a particular problem that needs you to assist or to provide solutions, then that's something that you need to do. This is where it is divided into 2 parts. You have PBT, you have state, and you also have instances in which you will require assistance from federal agencies. And this is where I think MPs are important. Of course, you can approach the agencies directly, facilities in the area, so we can make sure that we can move ahead without the need to build structures like this, and of course face the objections that we see. Then I think these are things that we need to take up. But you need to have an elected rep that is able to understand the problems that the residents face, resonate with them, and then take those views to those who are responsible for making decisions and to press ahead with the argument. This is something that you need to do. So my position differs from perhaps my 2 friends here. I've taken a position and I understand the reasons behind it. I can follow it. And in the event there's a need for us to go ahead, push ahead with that decision, and of course to go to those people who are making decisions, I'm with that. So that's what I can say to all of you now. My position is candidate, and of course subsequently, if elected as an MP, then rest assured that when the need arises, there is a need for us to push ahead, go and explain our position, register our objections, and see whether or not we can get them to understand it, and of course to make a decision that's suitable to what it is we want. I will be there, and I will be very happy to help you take that position through.
Thank you so much, Gobind. One add-on question to that before you go. After a nice refreshment and all. Okay. And can I start off with Dr. KJ John?
Thank you. My name is John, KJ John, and some people call me Dr. KJ. I'm not a medical doctor. I hold a doctorate in organization theory or group theory. Okay? I'm a resident in PJ, Kamutungu, what used to be called PJ Selatan and changed, now became Damansara. If you look at the map, I can't understand how they draw the boundaries anymore. It doesn't follow logic. Anyway, I stand for three ideas, three key ideas. Number one, truth matters. Objective truth matters. It's a very high ideal I'm talking about. Secondly, Rakyat matters. We just went to Kampong Medan recent and came back today. I thought I was late. We arrived here about 2:35. But the event was 3 o'clock, so I was early. So, truth matters, Rakyat matters, and thirdly, the economy matters. Each of these I can talk more, but given 2 minutes, I don't want to say more. I used to work in MITI, so economics is one of the areas I can talk about. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Ting Bok, Dato Ting Bok. You can call me Dan Bok. Okay? People ask me why I come out. My children, I have 3 children. My first son is a lawyer. My second son is an accountant. My younger daughter is a lawyer as well. So because of that, they are independent. I have been serving the public for the past 30 years. So now is my time, because my children all are big enough already. So it's my time to serve the people now. I just changed a platform to serve you better. I want to give to the PJ people is the service orientated. Being a lawyer for the past 30 years and being a chemist and in the business, I know all the social problem. I handle public complaint. Now I'm the president of the Strata Title Owner Association and I have been a councillor of MBSJ for 1 term. So I understand the problem of the faced by the resident, especially the PJ. And we can see one side of the PJ is occupied by a well-educated and so-called rich people. But the other side of the PJ, actually they are very poor. And you can say most of them are B40, below B40. I went there this past 3 weeks, I went around and see them, and I've been going after the OKU, all these people. And we must do something about it. Okay? The rich must help the poor. Love all, serve all is my motto for my campaign. Thank you very much.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chung. I am contesting in P105, PJ Petaling Jaya constituency. So I advocate for a more sustainable Petaling Jaya. After years of development, I think we face a bottleneck. And the bottleneck is not just about the bottleneck in PJ, but be it environmental, social or economical problems that's facing this country. We also need to find new ideas. We need to get rid of what happened in the past and start charting a new path for the people. So nationally, I advocate for the establishment of a climate change and global warming committee in the parliament, which I'm very passionate about. Secondly, I will also ask to have more check and balance in the parliament to strengthen our public account committee and to make sure that the people's voice are well represented in the parliament. And thirdly, at national level, I will also use my experience serving 2 terms as state assemblyman in Pahang and also 3 years of working experience in the opposition leaders office in the parliament from 2008 to 2011 to help me better in policy making. Locally, when we talk about sustainability, as my other contestants have said, there are also economic imbalances in PJ. So when we talk about sustainability, we also need to try to find ways to reduce economic gap within the same community. At the same time, we talk about overdevelopment in PJ. Yeah, we have enough buildings, enough high-rise, but if we don't stop it, we don't make a change, the life will become more and more unbearable to most of us. So I'm connecting what is happening locally with what is happening nationally and globally to make sure that PJ remains as the forefront city, comparing on par with other cities like Shanghai, Bangkok, Taipei, to make sure PJ folks will continue to progress and advance in a sustainable manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. We will now move to the second round. Now we will give you more time. Just now you introduce yourself.
We are now going to give you each 5 minutes to tell us what your vision is for PJ residents. Okay, you can elaborate a bit more based on what you said. Yeah, sorry, there's something wrong with it. As well as your action plan, how you would like to make this go through. Can I? Yes.
Oh, that's from me.
Reverse way. Thank you.
All right. So as I have said, we face globally the threat of existential crisis, which is global warming. I mean, from the rain that we are experiencing these few days, clearly our climate is becoming more and more risky. At the same time, when we talk about PJ, I advocate, and I'm sure you have my handouts, we talk about more sustainable transportation and public infrastructure. In Bukit Gasing, in Taman Medan, or be it in Sri Setia, we definitely need more buses and more sustainable financing on our public transportation system as well, because now MyPJ is forking out close to 7 million ringgit a year just to serve PJ City Bus that is given for free to all passengers. We need probably to learn from our past lessons on how, ironically, minibuses served us quite well 20 years ago in Family, right? So it's dangerous, it's crazy sometimes, yeah, but ironically, PJ minibus served us quite well in the past. So we need to learn some of the wisdom that we have acquired. But somehow, over the past 10 or 20 years, we have abandoned our progress in public transport. Just look at LRT. It still breaks down today, right? Yeah, it's unfunctionable. It's crazy because after 25 years in operation, we fail to fix the problem. And we need to find the experts from Toronto. We need to fly them over here to help us fix and find out what are the problems. And if you ask LRT, even the CEO, they will not be able to tell you, what causes the interruption of service. Public transport is not just about the vehicle that carries us from point A to B, but also the first and last mile connectivity. Right from the point where we step up from our house to our destination, we face serious inadequacy in terms of public supporting infrastructure, bus stand, pedestrian lanes, bridge, and also the PMD, private mobility devices that will allow and give convenience to us to travel in a short range to make sure we can reach the bus stop easily. And also we need more, definitely, bicycle lanes. I know it's controversial. Some say that, why are you taking my lanes? I'm driving, and most PJ folks like to drive. But let me share with you that if we continue with this lifestyle and we don't become the pioneer to make change, other city councils definitely would not. PJ should always be at the forefront of change and make sure we embrace sustainability. How much time do I have?
You have another 2.5 minutes.
Okay, time is running short. Secondly, I will also advocate for more empowerment programs, concrete empowerment, mainly on TVET education. So if you look at our peers at Taman Medan and Desa Mentari areas, I visited there several times, including one engagement session with MyPJ, a brilliant NGO that's doing a wonderful job there. We need to prescribe concrete solution to elevate their income. So I talked to some players. We need to bring in new industries. For instance, renewable energy industries, smart home installation, video editing skills. So we need to quickly condense all these courses and make an impact, make a social impact by working together with RAs, MCs, and some of the JMB that are functioning in those areas to give jobs to our youngsters and to make sure they can see hope that the younger generation will be better off than this generation, and is not otherwise. At the same time, I also advocate for more consultative session with local grassroots organizations. I'll be launching my website pjlestari.com tomorrow, 11 a.m. There will be a platform called Public Transport Connector, so that I welcome all of you to give feedbacks. How can we improve our last mile and first mile problems together? Because it will take more than a pair of eyes and ears to ensure that we can prescribe the right and sustainable solution. Yeah, I will also welcome more engagement, consultative section with local residents by means of physical engagement or digital engagement, because now like Zoom and Google Meet has been like very common nowadays. It can also reduce carbon footprint, right? So hopefully we can have more hybrid sessions in the future. We have to also lead our digital initiative to make sure we can contribute to sustainable development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. After having campaigning for the past 1 week, I just give you some of the example where the unfortunate part of it. I went to some market in Old Town. Recently, the local council refused to renew their license just because there is a caste compound they have not paid. And for the past 15 years, they give the whole line of the thing. So they got no way to complain. So being a PJ form, I promised them, because I'm staying PJ for 30 years, I'm going to stay here. I'm staying somewhere in Kasih. So they will not run away. These are the unfortunate people where you have to set up where they go to and get people settled. Just for the free transport, where the government, you talk about the state government spend millions of dollars for a free transport. I received complaints from Taman Medan and all these people. And early in the morning when they go out the bus, all is jammed by the foreign worker. Okay? So they have no choice, they have to pay and get a bus. So I have been suggesting during my public complaint time, state government should introduce coupon system. When you pay your quick rent, you pay your assessment, they should give you where you are resident local. So they give you a coupon system where reduce the wastage of people money. Because you let those people, want sometimes empty, sometimes full of foreign worker, and local people cannot enjoy it and spend $1 million for that. And you are very proud that you get people transport $1 million, and that is a waste of the public fund. So you have to be very focused, make sure you save the money. That's what I'm going to do. Okay? Secondly, I will encourage local council election. Because used to previous government, they work together with NGO, they won the election, they appoint the NGO to become a councillor, and when the government, they got a popularity, they know the people will support them, and one by one they drop them. Chean is one of them have been dropped, because they're NGO background. So I think local election is a must go in Selangor. And they always give the excuse that they cannot go. I don't think they cannot go, because you can do it very simple, based on the IC. They just have to set out a few counter, maybe 20, 30 counter, that election come. You just bring your IC and go there, you vote. That is simple as that. It's whether you got the will to do it or not. I think local council is a must to go for PJ people, because we are frontline. We are educated people. So there is a way of doing it. There is not difficulty. Okay? And the one what I do is because I want to help more unfortunate people. I'm going to set up an educational foundation. For those children, unfortunately, cannot afford to go to school, cannot go to university, cannot afford to pay for their fees. I got many friends who are businessmen. They got extra money, but they don't know how to do it. I will help them to do it, because I have done.
I hold a doctorate in organization theory of group building. Okay? I'm a resident in PJ, what used to be called PJ Selatan and now became the Masala. If you look at the map, I can't understand how they draw boundaries anymore. It doesn't follow logic. Anyway, I stand for three key ideas. Number one, truth matters. Objective truth matters. It's a very high idea that I'm talking about. Secondly, rakyat matters. We just went to Kampung Medan and came back today. I thought I was late. We arrived here about 2:35. But the event was 3 o'clock, so I was early. So, truth matters, rakyat matters, and thirdly, the economy matters. Each of these I can talk more, but given 2 minutes, I don't want to say more. I used to work in MyPJ, so economics is one of the areas I can talk about. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is Tingbok, Dato Tingbok. You can call me Tingbok. Okay? People ask me why I come out. My children, I have 3 children. My first son is a lawyer. My second son is an accountant. My younger daughter is a lawyer as well. So because of that, they are independent. I have been serving the public for the past 30 years. So now is my time because my children all are big enough already. So it's my time to serve the people now. I just change a platform to serve you better. I want to give to the PJ people is the service orientated. Being a lawyer for the past 30 years and being a chemist and in a business, I know all the social problems. I handle public complaint. Now I'm the president of the Strata Title Owner Association and I have been a councillor of MBSDale for 1 term. So I understand the problem faced by the resident, especially the PJ. And we can see one side of the PJ is occupied by a well-educated and so-called rich people. But the other side of the PJ, actually they are very poor. And you can say most of them are B40, below B40. I went at this past 3 weeks, I went around.
Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chung. I am contesting in P105, PJ Petaling Jaya constituency. So I advocate for a more sustainable Petaling Jaya. After years of development, I think we face a bottleneck. And the bottleneck is not just about the bottleneck in PJ, but the environmental, social or economical problems that's facing this country. We also need to find new ideas. We need to get rid of what happened in the past and start charting a new path for the people. So nationally, I advocate for the establishment of a climate change and global warming committee in the parliament, which I'm very passionate about. Secondly, I will also ask to have more check and balance in the parliament to strengthen our public account committee and to make sure that the people's voice are well represented in the parliament. And thirdly, at national level, I will also use my experience serving 2 terms as state assemblyman in Pahang and also 3 years of working experience in the opposition leader's office in the parliament from 2008 to 2011 to help me better in policy making. Locally, when we talk about sustainability, as my contestants, other contestants have said, there are also economic imbalances in PJ. So when we talk about sustainability, we also need to try.
Secondly, I will encourage local council election. Because used to previous government, they work together with NGO, they won the election, they appoint the NGO to become a councillor, and when the government, they got a popularity, they know the people will support them, and one by one they drop them. Chean is one of them have been dropped, because it's an NGO background. So I think local election is a must go in Selangor. And they always give an excuse that they cannot go. I don't think they cannot go, because you can do it very simple, based on the IC. They just have to set out a few counter, maybe 20, 30 counter, that election come. You just bring your IC and go there, you vote. Issue of strata title, we have a conflict between the management, the NJMB and the resident. And we have some committee who take the money, CBT, and no action has been taken. So I think some of the committee tomorrow, they are going to make a police report and send me a memorandum on that. And it's a very serious, because enforcement problem. We have COB, we have many government agencies, but nobody can act. For example, if the committee of JMB abuse of power, take the money and run away, or use the money, for example, if somebody sue you, if one of the residents sue you, I appoint a lawyer, I appoint a doctor to become my lawyer, I pay $1 million fees, $1 million as a legal fees. It's legal. But that is indirect appeal process. And we went to MACC, MACC, no, it's not my duty. Go to police. Police said, no, it's not my duty. COB said, I got no enforcement power. So it's bring you around. And I have many for the past 2 years been a president of the Strata Title Owner Association. We have been running up and down. We go and see KBKT, we go and see MACC, pushing us around. So we don't know what to do. And they
incompetent. The problem is in Selangor, nothing to do with KL. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to say this. I want to go to Parliament. I don't want to sit in MyPJ. I told Derek Fernandez he should run for mayor of MyPJ. Really, because he's qualified to be the mayor. He's very well trained, he knows the law. But I don't want to be a mayor. I want to go to Parliament because if you see the paper I distributed, I have some ideas in there. Please look at that, and if you have questions, I don't like the Slido nonsense, okay? Because it doesn't encourage us to do face-to-face. Sends it to technology somewhere. I'm against it. So, but that aside, I want to say that local council election is my #1 priority. #1. Why? How many of you remember the Senator Ati Nahapan report? Just put out your hand. Do you remember it? That's the foundation for the local council election. Tabled in Parliament in 1970. Can somebody say I agree with you? That was what happened. But because of May 13, 1969, the government happily said we put the policy aside and never executed council elections. Guess what? I had a dad who stood for election in 1953 and won in Singapore. So we had elections before independence. But after 1969, with the Ati Nahapan report, we banned all elections. I remember when I was in MIMOS, we funded local government electronic computerization. When I wrote to the SecGen and said, I want to do a pilot project with you, he said, he's my good friend from RNC as well. He said, KJ, on one condition, that you don't articulate elections. Can you imagine? That means there was 3 years in public service. I'm serious. I started with Tun Razak, the father, not the son. I started with Tun Razak. My boss was Tan Sri Clifford Herbert. Those of you who know him, SFX, you all know him, okay? He was my boss. You can ask him. There you go. So, what? But why are we not talking about corruption? Corruption is the #1 problem. I call one agenda ABC. I'm against bribery and corruption. That's simple as ABC. If all of us start speaking up against it, we will kill corruption because we will demand accountability and transparency. In fact, my kids did a poster for me and said, Dad, go for it. I said, what is it? They said integrity and transparency. So that's a motto I'm propagating. But really what made me angry and decide to stand? In 2006, I went before Parliament. Special Committee on Integrity. February 13th, page report about corruption in the public service. I didn't point fingers. I just said what is wrong. I was a whistleblower. Guess what? I never heard anything from Parliament. That's the reason I'm running today. Because I want to go to Parliament and get the answers to my own questions. Because, with due respect, all the people who sat up there, some are Tan Sri, some are retiring now, they didn't have answers. In fact, one MP, I went to him recently, I said, sir, this is my 20-page report, you didn't reply. He said, son, you have to work harder. Okay, I'm son and I have to work harder. But I worked 33 years in public service, I didn't compromise, I didn't steal 1 cent, I didn't donate free money. But what do you get? So recently I called Tan Sri Azhar and I say, hey, can you do me this from Captanis? Not Gronila, he's on the other side. Because Arif is my classmate. The previous speaker is my #1 classmate. Tan Sri Azhar said, John, I'll get you the report and the findings. 2006. How long ago was that? Now I said, sorry Azhar, even you might not be right because I'm going to get that to Parliament to find my own answers. I'm sick and tired of corruption. That is one of the reasons I stand. Minute. Okay, just one other point. Just now we went up Desa Mantari to walk around. Second time I've been there in my life. But you know what I saw? Hurt me. I'm sorry. It hurt me because ordinary people living terrible lives right next to my neighborhood. I'm Kampong Tugu on the other side of the highway. But why? They're Malaysians. Don't they deserve a standard of life? Don't they deserve a quality of life? What have we become? And yet, I'm sorry, I'm going to be very critical here. I drive in here, we're all driving fancy cars. In fact, my good friend Adrian was joking, saying, go Porsche was so loud. Okay, I don't know whose it is, I'm not picking on you, but the point is, it cannot be the same Malaysia It cannot be two Darjat Malaysia. It cannot be one set of laws for groups who get into Kajang prison instead of Sungai Buloh prison. And then another set of laws for groups who can dictate when elections should be held. So guys, I want to go into parliament. Please help me get into parliament because I'm an angry older man. Thank you.
Sorry, we're down to just one mic. Okay, thank you very much for to all the Government Bertindak Malaysia recently published Manifesto Rakyat, and this is a manifesto that was painstakingly taken from numerous inputs and questionnaires that were distributed. So out of those 27 points, we will now look at the most relevant points of the Citizens Manifesto for Petaling Jaya, and I invite Chairman of MyPJ, Pang, to present this. Thank you.
No? And that is PJS area, that's Samitari. No? He didn't cry when he went there the first time. Huh? Second time. I'm there for 5 years. No? And the problem that I'm facing to overcome for the income of people have reached a ceiling that an NGO cannot do anymore. So this time we are campaigning for a whole society approach, whereby first of all we have the opportunity to elect our candidates for MP. About 6 months from now, we are going to elect our aduns, and this time it will be a different approach completely, because we know I've been doing this, organizing these kind of events for since 2008, but things have not changed very much because we are addressing things in pieces, you know? And that's why MyPJ, we do not look at one taman, but we look at the whole structural approach to solve it. So let me start by saying that this is the PJ that we ideal. We want it to be a livable city. All right, and over here is the PJ that we know. Desa Ria is even worse than Desa Mekali, much worse. All right, and we have crimes there, and even the walls are missing. You know? So terrible place because the whole of the JMB have failed. All right, and the COB is a real problem with a big disconnect between the state and the federal. That is why it's so important that federal admins, councillors must all work in tandem. We have asked for public participation, and we ran right up to the federal level to see the minister wanting a local council election, because that is important for us to have a voice. But so far, for all the 3 terms, we have no voice at all. All right, supposed to have a voice, but everything is in form and not in substance. No public hearing on budgeting and all. We've been through all that. We have hit a ceiling. All right. So without the support of the adun that we elect and the MP that we elect, and that is why this time we are saying that we want a people-centric elected representatives. Bring us to the table. We want to be part of it. Right. So there are a lot of problems on Trump. Public transportation, B40 now coming to be B60, developers crowding around prestigious area, transit-oriented development especially, you know, lots of condominiums surrounding all the main areas where the people that need it is the B40 to be near the transport areas. We got stress cities, we got low-cost houses problem. JME and COB is the biggest problem that we are facing. But we've got politically appointed councillors are one of our biggest hindrance at the moment. All right, and now of course we need to future through our cities. But it is not about working harder anymore. That is what we've been working for the last few terms. You know, others saying that I'm giving you free transport, I'm giving you hampers, I'm giving you this. That is not their job. All right, so they are working faster, harder, but no effect. Unless we start to integrate the effort, we will not be able to have time on the ground. But you can actually merge it together. So there will be a top-down, bottom-up approach. And this continuation is very important. So that's why when we vote MP, it's very important that the MP will know how to work with the three others that they have at the bottom. All right? They may be from different parties, but put party aside, it's the people that you must come together. So I'm worried about our councillors. Our councillors are divided into three parties as well, and they don't see eye to eye as well. All right? Local council election and other things. So that's a whole thing that we are talking about. It took a long time for us to organize the community together. When the Tamans no longer say that I'm only concerned about my Taman. Now we begin to look at things holistically already. I think the community has become Prihatin. Now it's the Kerajaan that needs to be Prihatin and work with us. So with love for our PJ, and at the same time with SDGs and all, there's a framework for us to do. Now is the political will. We need MPs that support people-centric, principled, and honest. All right. So just want to let the potential candidate know that don't start from scratch again. No. Once you come in, hit the ground running, because we've already been running. Don't let us start and follow you running one more round. You have to start all over again. All right. Thank you very much.
MyPJ has actually headed a particular project which is to build MP profiling portfolio, right? This is a portal. Every newsworthy item about them, we will also upload it. That means by GE16, when you wanted to check a candidate, you will have a single place where you can go and find all the links to all the information. Candidate charged for corruption, it will be there, right? Candidate gave a really good speech in Parliament, it will be there. Both the positive and the negative. So as voters, we will be empowered. Often we remember only the good things, forget about the bad things, right? And until right after the elections, then we are reminded very forcefully, right? So this is a good place for us to keep our records about each candidate.
And things like that. I mean, even Agun were not allowed to stand in the football meeting, and even public were not allowed to enter football meeting in Maduris Bandaraya's one time. So don't get me wrong that I'm a conservative. I'm just saying that, or suggesting that after talking to city councillors, of course, bad city councillors, but there are also some city councillors with heart to serve. My conclusion is that instead of advocating for local council election, we should single focus on mayor election. Local council election, yes, we need to elect 20 over of them for one city council. Mayor, we have one. And the executive power mainly primarily rests on is a much more important role than city councillors. So I would advocate for mayor election first before city council election. Thank you.
Excuse me, I just want to have a quick certificate of understanding. It's a very simple one. Sparta title, let's say if COB don't take action and we have a mayor election, we complain to the mayor for them to take action against COB. Would that be how we would go about things? Then we go and talk about local council election. We will come back to that.
Wait for the question for the floor. I just want to differ a little bit. I wrote a case study on Kuantan local authority about 40 years ago, and used it as a case in my MBA class where I was teaching in George Washington University. True story. And I gave Sharif Shamsuddin's name to the guy. Some of them called him to ask, this is true or not? So he was the dynamic Himalayan. His boss was Najib, by the way. But I just want to differ a little bit. You have a right to express your ideas, and I'm going to say slightly differently, because I followed the Atin Arpan report, and I couldn't get the report anywhere except University Malaya Library. I had to borrow for half a day, go and shadow a copy and give back the original. Because everybody forgot about it. Okay? I studied it in local government in University Malaya under that subject. why I would like to see local council elections in all cities of the country. Cities. PJ is a city, Kuantan is a city, Ipoh, and so on and so forth. You don't just need mayors. Actually, a mayor never makes big decisions. The council makes the decision. Check the law. All 24 councillors plus mayor makes the decision. Mayor is just the moderator of the meeting, but we have given, they're all ex-PTD, my colleagues, okay? You name all 5 of them, the last 5 are all good friends of mine. Dates back to the guy who put up the tall building, Nola Sata, or Matno Bado. I can go down, Emran Kade, I can go down to 5. If you get councillors elected, and my idea is very simple, 24 council, Kampung Tunku is one precinct. So you select somebody who lives in Kampung Tunku to become the Kampung councillors to make decisions. They have no unilateral executive authority. I'm talking as a PTD also. Neither does ministers have as the KSU. The KSU is the controlling officer. I hope you all understand that. The CFO and the CIO is the SecGen or the mayor. But they don't have absolute authority. So I'm in favor of elections with no qualms, no more excuses. Let's get it done. Thank you very much.
Not the mayor. Mayor is to chair the meeting, run administration, that's all. So we need an experienced mayor. If you have a mayor election, you are gone. Because all the rich men will come and throw money and become elected as a mayor. Then how to lead all the councillors? And that is not practical. That's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
This is such an important topic, so the civil society and residents cannot be left out of it. Everywhere that we go for, everybody is asking for local council election. But yet in all the manifesto, it doesn't appear. Except for Kuala Lumpur. They want local council election in Kuala Lumpur. Alright? Because they have no admins there and no councillors. But when we are asking for local council election over here, we are referring back to the manifesto Rakyat, which is actually saying not only councillors but also mayors. I think we want to put it back. We are actually going for mayor and councillor elections. No? If you are a rich man, whatever, you can't perform, no matter how rich you are, the next round we will accept you. But then the power is in the people, not in the party politics. So, I questions first, and then if you have time, we go back to answer the mayors.
Yes. Picture? Okay, number 3. Empower Parliamentary Select Committee to scrutinize the appointment of MACC and Election Commission chiefs. Okay, please hold it for a while. Okay, right. Yes. Okay, thank you. Number 4, set up an independent police. We have to go on. So let me introduce all those who are here today. Okay, as all of you all know, this session is for P105, which is there are 6 candidates. I will announce those who are not here today. From Barisan National, Mr. Chu Hian Kat is not here. He's declined the invitation. And from Parti Rakyat Malaysia, Encik Ezam Muhammad Noor also declined. Right now, I'm not saying they didn't want to come. I'm just saying that they couldn't come. All right. And now I will introduce from the left all those who are standing for election and who are here. From the extreme left, first is an independent candidate, a face who is quite familiar to most people in PJ, Dr. K.J. John. Round of applause, please. Okay. Next to him is Mr. Teng Bok from Barisan Rakyat Sabah Bersekutu. Right. Okay. And next to him in the middle is Mr. Lee Chien Chung from Pakatan Harapan. The other person who's supposed to come is from Gagasan Bangsa, Puan Mazrin binti Mokhtar. We left a seat for her, but she's not here yet. Okay. Now I want to very quickly go through the format, right, of how we're going to be
happening locally with what's happening nationally and internet globally to make sure that PJ remains as the forefront city, comparing on par with other cities like Shanghai, Bangkok, Taipei, to make sure PJ folks will continue to progress and advance in a sustainable manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. We will now move to the second round. Now we will give you more time. Just now you introduce yourself.
Alright. So as I have said, we face globally the threat of existential crisis, which is global warming. I mean, from the rain that we are experiencing these few days, clearly our climate is becoming more and more risky. At the same time, when we talk about PJ, I advocate, and I'm sure you have my handouts, we talk about more sustainable transportation and public infrastructure. In Bukit Gasing, in Taman Medan, or be it in Sri Setia, we definitely need more buses and more sustainable financing on our public transportation system as well, because now MyPJ is forking out close to 7 million ringgit a year just to serve PJ City Bus that is given for free to all passengers. We need probably to learn from our past lessons on how, ironically, minibuses served us quite well 20 years ago in Klang Valley, right? So it's dangerous, it's crazy sometimes, yeah, but I mean, ironically, PJ minibus served us quite well in the past. So we need to learn some of the wisdom that we have acquired. But somehow, over the past 10 or 20 years, we have abandoned our progress in public transport. Just look at LRT. It still breaks down today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's unfunctionable. It's crazy because after 25 years in operation, we fail to fix the problem. And we need to find the experts from Toronto. We need to fly them over here to help us fix and find out what are the problems. And if you ask LRT, even the CEO, they will not be able to tell you, what causes the interruption of service. Public transport is not just about the vehicle that carries us from point A to B, but also the first and last mile connectivity. Right from the point where we step up from our house to our destination, we face serious inadequacy in terms of public supporting infrastructure, bus stand, pedestrian lanes, bridge, and also the PMD, private mobility devices that will allow and give convenience to us to travel in a short range to make sure we can reach the bus stop easily. And also we need more, definitely, bicycle lanes. I know sustainability. How much time do I have?
We have another 2.5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, time is running short. Secondly, I will also advocate for more empowerment programs, concrete empowerment, mainly on TVET education. So if you look at our peers at Taman Medan and Desa Mentari areas, I visited there several times, including one engagement session with MyPJ, a brilliant NGO that's doing a wonderful job there. We need to prescribe concrete solution to elevate their income. So I talked to some players. We need to bring in new industries. For instance, renewable energy industries, smart home installation, video editing skills. So we need to quickly condense all these courses and make an impact, make a social impact by working together with RAs, MCs, and some of the JNB that are functioning in those areas to give jobs to our youngsters.
There is a caste compound they cannot pay. And for the past 15 years, they give the whole line of the thing. So they have no way to complain. So being a PJ form, I promise them because I've stayed in PJ for 30 years, I'm going to stay here. I'm staying somewhere in Gasing. So they will not run away. These are the unfortunate people where you have to set up, where they go to and get people settled. Just for the free transport where the government, you talk about the state government spend millions of dollars for a free transport. I receive complaints from Taman Medan and all these people. And early in the morning when they go out the bus, all is jammed by the foreign worker. Okay? So So they have no choice, they have to pay and get a bus. So I have been suggesting during my public complaint time, state government should introduce coupon system. When you pay your crib rent, you pay your assessment, they should give you where your resident local. So they give you a coupon system where reduce the wastage of people money. Because you let those people, sometimes it's empty, sometimes full of foreign workers, and local people cannot enjoy it, and spend millions of dollars for that. And you